Okay, so let's just do a couple quick scenarios. I'm going to show you how easy this is. So the priority order I'm going to use is the easy one, right? The number 1, unknown suspect. Number 2, known suspect. Number 3, not sure what happened. And remember, none of these are unfounded. The unfounded cases are off the pot right now. All right, here's scenario number 1. Just tell me what you think. Okay, so the victim stated she doesn't remember engaging in sexual intercourse with multiple suspects, that she has multiple personality disorder, and believes that she was within a personality that consented to the acts, even though in her core personality she would not have consented. Unable to get suspect DNA standards due to no probable cause to obtain them. So what priority order do you think this is? Unknown suspect, known suspect, not sure. 3? All right, good. Not sure if sexual assault occurred. Boom, it's that easy. And again, that's your cops, that's your initial officer's statement in his report. That's all you need to determine a priority order. And I'll admit, guys, when I first read this one, I did chuckle a little bit, but then I had to catch myself because what can you do with this? Why should you send the sexual assault kit for this one? Right? Potentially build a mentally incapacitated case, and you don't know until you send the kit off for testing and get a potential CODIS hit because this guy could be a predator and this is his perfect victim. So I admit I minimized this case the first time I read. I minimized it. I was guilty of minimizing this case. Don't get caught up in that. They're all just as important. And this could be a serial rapist, and that's who he likes to prey on. All right, scenario number 2. The victim met the suspect through an AOL chat room. So you know that's really old. Anybody even know what that is? I know some older. Yeah, you know that's a 90s case for sure. So the victim only knew the suspect by the name he referred to himself, which was Mike. The victim agreed to meet Mike at a club for some drinks. Didn't intend to have sex with him. While at the club, Mike and the victim went to Mike's car, smoked a cigarette, listened to some music. Mike raped the victim, pushed her out, and fled the area. So what priority order is this? Unknown suspect, known suspect, or not sure what happened? Anybody? Yes, no, maybe? Yeah, unknown suspect. Remember, include those that you have only a partial name or a screen name or an alias. All right, see, it's that easy, folks. All right, one last one. All right, so the victim went to visit her older sister while she's on spring break from college. She is an adult. The older sister's live-in boyfriend is Joe Smith. He was there. The three of them were having some shots, drinking. Victim felt woozy, so she went to pass out in the spare bedroom. She was awakened several hours later when her sister's boyfriend started having vaginal intercourse with her while she was asleep. All right, what priority order is that? All right, yeah, I mean, it's that simple, guys. Okay, so what is unfounded? And I'm just going to read a little bit because I just want you to be consistent with what the Survivor Act is defining as unfounded. It's pretty much the UCR definition of unfounded. But basically, per the Survivor Act, unfounded is an unfounded sexual assault kit. It's a reported sexual assault examination kit where upon completion of the investigation, a comprehensive case review by the law enforcement agency, and a complete review by your review team, by your MDT, it was concluded by the investigating agency, and here's the key phrase, based on clear and convincing evidence that a crime did not occur. Pretty consistent with the UCR definition. Again, there's the UCR definition. Basically, it's false or baseless. It's same criteria. Clear and convincing evidence a crime did not occur. All right, so yeah, we ran into this in Fayetteville. If no investigation is conducted, a case is not unfounded. Yeah, we had a few of those in Fayetteville where we just weren't really sure what, if anything, was done. If the case is investigated but is deemed to be inconclusive or unsubstantiated, that is not the same as unfounded. And if there's insufficient evidence to move forward with charges, that's not unfounded. Yeah, here's my favorite. Here's all-time favorite from Fayetteville. It's not unfounded if your victim refuses to cooperate. And with the older cases, it's most likely because we upset her and she shut down. But if the victim refuses to cooperate, case is not unfounded. Yeah, that was the two most common scenarios we came across in Fayetteville, is that we couldn't find the victim after the initial report, so we unfounded the case, which that's not unfounded. Or the victim refused to cooperate. Again, those are not unfounded. And actually, in Fayetteville, their cold case sexual assault unit, two of their arrests were cases that were originally deemed to be unfounded. So obviously, they were not properly unfounded. One of those was a case where the victim didn't cooperate. And the other one was one where they couldn't find the victim after the initial report. So they unfounded the case. And that was actually the unit's first serial rapist arrest. I like this article about this one because it uses the phrase sex offender. That's something, really keep that in mind as you're doing these case reviews for, cold cases, warm cases, current cases. That's going to be a common theme you see. I think at one point in Fayetteville, over half of our arrests were like registered sex offenders. And anytime I see a sex offender come up in any of our investigations, I always perk up and I show them no quarter because, I feel they've gotten away with it once, right? They've gotten away with it once. They're out. They're usually out. So they got their plea bargain. They got their slap on the wrist. They're out there. And so there's probably at least 7 or 8 that they got away with that we don't know about. So anytime their name comes up, I'd show them no quarter, and we come down hard on them. And that's going to be a common theme you see as you're reviewing these old cases. Yeah, I have to tell a war story. Sorry, I had to tell a war story. So yeah, this was that particular arrest. It was Dallas Walker. He was working on a road crew in Fayetteville. This actually is in Fayetteville city limits. I know it looks like farmland, but is anybody from or near Fayetteville? Yeah, like the western part. Yeah, the western part of Fayetteville butts up right to Hoke County. It's rural looking, at least. There's a small part of it, but Dallas Walker was on a road crew out there, and it was such a long stretch of country road that you couldn't even see his partner, the other end of his road crew. So we go arrest him, and we're not sure what to do with his road crew sign. You can see there's traffic there. So I'm on the road crew for 5 minutes, taking one for the team. And my cold case detective was sitting there giggling on the side of the road and taking a picture. I mean, I was saying to him at that moment, I was saying, hey, it's not very professional, But I'm kind of glad he took it. It's kind of a cool snapshot moment of a cool arrest. So anyway. All right, so on with the unfounded case review. So just keep in mind, you're either going to have these unfounded cases already set off to the side, or if you're doing your priority order case review and you come across cases that were unfounded during the original investigation, put those aside, because remember, that's going to be your slow it down review. You'll be able to slow it down a little bit. Again, got to throw this in there again, get that priority order case review done as soon as possible. Again, the unfounded case review, you're going to be able to slow it down. There is no mandated timeline for it. I mean, you got to get on it. As soon as you're done with your priority order review, you got to get on this, but you're not stressed with a hard deadline on these. Again, I would recommend getting on it after you finish your priority order case review. I mean, if you guys are efficient enough, you can do both at the same time. You can do the priority order case review and the unfounded case review at the same time. If that's more efficient for you, by all means, do whatever works for you. And again, this is going to be a more thorough review. You have the initial report, you can have the case file. I'd recommend, if it was me, I'd probably go ahead and just read your detective supplemental reports, because that's the man or lady who unfounded the original case. So just see if they can convince you. They should be able to convince you on their supplemental report whether the case is really unfounded or not. Yeah, I mean, keep in mind the unfounded definition, the UCR guidelines. I mean, probably just go ahead and have a copy of it, handy for everybody on the team, especially those who aren't familiar, with the unfounded concept or your unfounding cases. Again, must be clear and convincing evidence. That's the bottom line. Must be clear and convincing evidence that a crime did not occur. So I'm going to tell you from my experience, the hundreds of cases that we sent off, very few of them actually turned out to be unfounded. Those that were originally deemed unfounded typically were improperly unfounded. It's going to be a very high percentage of your originally unfounded cases are not going to be unfounded. So just be prepared to put them in your priority order queue and to send them off for testing. Yeah, again, I mean, that's just the way it was. That was just the culture back then. We didn't do that great a job with these cases. I mean, I investigated homicides, aggravated assaults, armed robberies, and rapes were pretty much down here. And I'm willing to bet nationwide in the 90s that rapes just weren't a priority, and we didn't place a lot of emphasis on these cases. So, yeah, we didn't do that great a job. We've learned since then, though, and we're trying to make it right now. So again, if a case turns out to not be unfounded, which that's more likely than not, it's not going to be unfounded, go ahead and just knock out your priority order case review on it, get it in your queue to send off to the lab for testing. So if you ask, could the opposite ever occur? Like, could you have a case you're reviewing during your priority order case review and it was not originally unfounded and it should have been unfounded? Yeah, that never happened. I never saw that happen. So I wouldn't even be in that mindset to even looking for that, because that's not going to happen. It's always going to be the other way around, that we improperly unfounded a whole lot of cases. Okay, so if you don't get anything else out of this training today, please listen to this one slide. Just go ahead and listen, suck it up for 2 minutes or so. Listen to this, because I could see this coming back and biting people in the end here. And I'm just going to read straight from the Survivor Act so it's crystal clear here. So after you do your complete, thorough, unfounded case review by your review team, so if you do find the case is actually unfounded, then the following must be done. So this is mandatory. And it's more work on law enforcement, but I think it brings a little extra layer of accountability to this. So the law enforcement agency shall track within the agency the number of sexual assault kits which are concluded to be unfounded, along with a brief summary indicating the information and evidence supporting the determining of an unfounded sexual assault kit. So you're going to have to do a little work. I think the thought process behind this, and a lot of people are watching us, a lot of people, local, state, and national level, are watching what we do with these unfounded cases, because I tell you from experience, a lot of these cases already slipped through the cracks once, and people who are watching aren't going to make sure they don't slip through the cracks again. But again, you're not going to have that many unfounded cases anyway, so this is something you're not going to do a whole lot. Yeah, I mean, I've got a sample supplemental report. After the first training, somebody reached out to me. I would recommend just doing a supplemental report and adding it to the case file. I think everybody mostly has electronic records management systems. I guess something you can type in there and it'll be there forever, hopefully. I mean, I know how that works. I do have a sample supplemental report I'll be glad to share. I can't add any slides. I mean, it's like an act of Congress trying to add slides to this presentation. I think Donald Trump does have to sign off on any additions because this is a federally funded grant here. So I can't add a slide, but I'll be glad to help you out. Reach out to me if you want to see my sample supplemental report that I would use to track these cases. All right, and the sentence after that in the Survivor Act basically says if later on, if you unfound a case and later on information comes up that would create doubt as whether the case is unfounded, just go ahead and send the sexual assault kit off for DNA testing. That probably is something that won't happen, but again, if you're in doubt, always send your sexual assault kit off. So yeah, what if your MDT gets together and we can't agree? Nobody can agree on whether a case is unfounded or not. So ultimately, it is up to law enforcement to make that final determination. I mean, it's your evidence, it's your kit, it's your case. You're the one doing the case submission. So it's ultimately up to you. But again, I'll fall back on, and I know that the Attorney General, Josh Stein, 100% agrees with this statement. If you are in doubt, always send off your sexual assault kit off for testing. Always send off your kit for testing if you're in doubt. I think he would be happy. I mean, we took the 100% forklift approach in Fayetteville. We sent every single kit off for testing, regardless of the circumstances. We didn't do any of this priority order case review. We just sent everything off. And that's over 600. Very, very small percentage of those came back to be unfounded. And I can only think of 2 CODIS uploads where actually we did a review of the case file. We're actually like, okay, this profile is not eligible to be loaded in the CODIS. This is not from a crime scene. This is not a crime. We had 2 out of over 600 cases that we wound up not entering into the CODIS database because the case really, really was unfounded. So, I mean, if in doubt, just send all your stuff off. I mean, you can catch it on the back end. I mean, we caught those 2 on the back end. They were not loaded into CODIS. I know that we could have tried to send them to CODIS, but the crime lab would not have accepted them. They're not going to sign off on DNA that did not come from a crime scene. So if in doubt, I'd just send everything off and worry about it on the back end. And again, just recall if you do have an unfounded case, you do have to prepare that summary or supplemental report. I would highly recommend. So again, I don't have any insider knowledge of what the Attorney General is going to do, but I hope you're paying attention to this. It would not surprise me at all if the Attorney General got his specialists together, got specialists doing site visits throughout the state, and maybe even surprise site visits, asking to see your documentation for all of your unfounded cases. Because again, we're being watched. I know NCCAS is very interested in these unfounded cases. North Carolina Coalition Against Sexual Assault, they're very interested in these cases. I know the Joyful Heart Foundation, which is a national advocacy agency, they're very interested in our unfounded cases, in North Carolina unfounded cases. People are watching us. And again, we're not really going to have that many unfounded cases anyway. And it's a little bit of work for the ones we do, but this is the one thing I could see the Attorney General calling out all law enforcement agencies in the state and asking to see this documentation. So please be really careful. Take that part. If you don't take anything else seriously about what I'm saying, please take that part of the Survivor Act seriously. That's something I think that can get people in trouble. And there's no repercussions. He's not going to arrest your chief or your sheriff or you. There's no fines. But I think the court of public opinion will play out in this, and your chief or sheriff is not going to be very happy if this is not done. So please, if anything else, please do this. And again, I'll be glad to help you. We're a resource for you. I'll come to your agency. I'll help you out. I'll look over all your unfounded cases for you. I'll come help you out with it. I've been there. I've done that. I got the shirt. And use this as a resource, please. All right, so other SAKI tools. I mentioned the SAKITTA.org website. Again, please, I highly recommend you take some time to look over that website. There really is something for all 5 disciplines here. It's not just a law enforcement site. There's prosecution stuff. There's advocacy stuff. You got SANE stuff. You got crime lab stuff. And of course, law enforcement things. There are some really great resources. There's like a SAKI welcome packet and some resource briefs. I told you I had some of that stuff printed out and like in a little notebook. And like I said, they're easy briefs. It's easy to read. They're 1, 2, or 3 pages long. It's really good stuff. And it's really a great opportunity, like for other members of your team, to learn not only what each other does, but why you do it. You got some national experts that contribute to this website. It's really good stuff. I mean, they have some webinars that we mentioned, a virtual academy. As you get into this, as you start getting results back, and I know the next phase of this project is going to be your victim notifications. There's a developing victim notification protocol virtual academy. And if you're not tired of hearing me yap, you can hear me yap some more about developing your victim notification protocol, because that's going to be a really next important step of this project. And just Saki toolkits, again, for the various disciplines. They have a lot of great resources. Yeah, and it's great, it's great going to training to Miami or Las Vegas or Chicago or DC or even Greensboro. But I'm telling you, I swear to you, I am God's honest truth to you, in over 27 and a half years, sitting at my desk in my office, going to this website, it's some of the best training I ever had. And that's the truth. So I please really hope you take advantage of this website. And it's free. Okay, so next steps. What's coming up next? Yeah, I mean, keep up the good work. You've got the hard part done. So let's say you've got all your kits sent off for testing. You've done the priority order reviews. You've done the Unfounded reviews. You're getting DNA results back. You're working cases. You're clearing all these embarrassingly easy cases that I've referred to affectionately. The hard part's done. Keep it up. Keep up the good work. Keep that team together. Whatever you do, keep that team together. Ensure that warm handoff, the interagency relationships. Again, can't stress enough, victims are going to catch on to that. If you're cooperating with your fellow agencies, if you get along with each other, victims are going to pick up on that, and they're going to be more likely to move forward. And you're putting dirtbag rapists in jail, which is what we all want to do, right? Yeah, continue that review of your cases. Again, it's mandated for the cold cases. It's mandated for the pre-2018 cases, but keep it going. Again, it's all about doing your victims right for your past cases, your present cases, and your future cases. Yeah, again, I can't stress enough, just these cases are there. They really are there for the taking. It's not just about Survivor Act cases. Let the Survivor Act be the catalyst to improve the process. Take all of these cases are worth a second look, whether you have a sexual assault kit or not, whether it's been tested or not. I do promise you, if you put a little bit of effort, it'll go a long way. You're going to have some great cases you're working. Again, yeah, the formula is pretty simple. I think agencies in this state are doing it. Agencies all over the nation are doing it. Just test all your evidence, get your CODIS hits, put your dirtbag rapists in jail. It's pretty simple. Because always remember, it's never too late to lock up a scumbag. There's my info there. Can you see the blue email? Yeah, there's my email, there's my number. I mean, please reach out. I mean, this is my job now. It's what I get paid to do. It's not a whole lot, but I do enjoy it still. I still have that spark a little bit left. And again, I'm willing to come to you guys. I can help you over the phone, over email. I will come to you if you need help.